In this brief demo, I just want to show you some of the reporting capabilities in LucaNet itself. In the second video, I'll show you some more extensive reporting capabilities using a LucaNet add-in for Excel. As LucaNet is a financial consolidation, budgeting, planning and forecasting, as well as financial reporting system, then you won't be surprised to see the profit and loss, balance sheet and cash flow reports within the package as standard. Within any of these reports, you can choose which currency to report in, and with suitable access rights, you can choose any entity within the organization to report on. We're logged in as administrator, so we can see the whole organization and all of the data sets. So for example, we were reporting on group, but we can report on a subsidiary, or we could report on the holding company. As I mentioned, we could be reporting on the actuals as we are now, but we could equally report on budgets, forecasts and other data sets within LucaNet. In fact, we have a fairly standard report here comparing actual with budget and the percentage difference, and you'll notice that when you drill down through the quarters and through the months, it retains all of those columns. But let's stick with a standard report. In terms of data, you can report transaction level data or adjusted data such as IFRS, and if the financial controller has included commentary alongside the numbers, then that commentary will come through into the reports. Naturally, you can choose the periods that you want to report against, and we can include calculated columns to show the absolute difference and the percentage difference between those periods, and again those columns remain as you drill through the quarters or through the months. You can drill down into the accounts as far as you feel comfortable with. Let's say this level of detail is available to us because we're an administrator. Other users get the same reports, P&L, balance sheet and cash flow, but not necessarily with the same access to data. So as an example, we'll hop over to China, and in here the financial controller for China has again the P&L, the balance sheet and the cash flow, but because its data access is limited to that subsidiary, they will only see the numbers for that subsidiary and only see the structures for that subsidiary, though they can report either in the group currency or in local currency. They would also have access to budgets and forecasts if they're recorded in LucaNet, and of course they've got the same ability to include periods and to include calculated columns and everything else that you see in the administrator screens, just with their limited data access. So back to the administrator. When you've got a report that you like the look of, that you want to share with non-LucaNet users, then all you need to do is to export that data into Excel. And what you'll notice in Excel is that all that comes through is the numbers. There's no links back to LucaNet, which means that the user on this Excel does not need a LucaNet user license. You'll also notice that the report is at exactly the same level as you had it within LucaNet, and they can collapse or expand the report as they prefer. Being Excel, of course, they can format the report and it can be saved and shared like any other Excel report. Another capability to have a look at, if we look at marketing, which is always interesting, we can add a graph to the report, and as we drill down, the graph will also drill down. The graph rapidly makes it apparent there's been some increased spend in October for some reason, and if we scroll down to that number in the table, if we want to find out more detail, we just have to double click that number. That shows us where the data was imported from, and if we click on that, it will show us the actual transactions that comprise that 190,000 figure. We can select any of those transactions and drill further, which will show us more detail on that transaction. And if you scan your invoices, then we could actually show you the original invoice. But maybe you don't have time to do all that immediately, so you've seen this issue and you just want to remind yourself to pick it up as and when you get the chance. You could do that by zeroing in on the October period, and when we don't need the graph, and you can put a reminder in your favorites. And you can say on this, I don't know, ask Jeff about marketing rebates. So for example, maybe you get rebates from your suppliers for marketing purposes, and you suspect maybe they haven't been processed in October. What this means is that whatever you do then in LucaNet, if you look at other things, do other work, maybe go to other reports, and then you remember you want to do something with marketing, you can look at your favorites, click on Ask Jeff about the marketing rebates, and go straight back to that number that you were querying. If you create a reporting area within LucaNet, as we've done here, then what you could do is copy this view, this report, as a link and put it into your reporting environment. All we need to do to edit this is double click, and then we can just paste that link into the report. It's not so meaningful that, so let's just edit it and say did Jeff claim October 13 marketing rebates? Okay, so if we save that, you've added that to the reporting environment. That means anybody who has access to that reporting environment, when they come to it, will see your message. If they just click on that message, then they'll see this 190,000, and they could click through and get all that detail that you've seen already. And this is the principle that's been used to create all these links here, and this creates a calendar, if you like, for easy access to the P&L for any period, to the balance sheet for any period, and even a management cockpit, which is just the KPIs that somebody has chosen that they want to manage at this particular moment in time. So access to the reports can be made really easy, and of course you can have non-financial data in LucaNet and have links to those reports as well. So let's just give you a brief view of the capabilities within LucaNet itself, and look forward to seeing you in my second video using the Excel add-in. Thank you.